Let's explore how to meditate to transcend our controlling tendencies, or perhaps I should say the more insidious of our controlling tendencies. This morning's lesson is drawn from my adaptation of the 12th passage of Dza Paltrul Rinpoche's Heart Treasure of the Enlightened Ones. Please chant with me. Oh, look at this. Okay. Though you explain people could miss the point or simply not believe you. Though your motivation is truly altruistic, people might think it is not. These days when the crooked see the straight as crooked, you might not be able to help anyone give up any hope of that. Well, my perfectionistic tendencies are screeching at me to stop the class and edit the source text, which is all kinds of mashigana, so I won't. So we're going to start with a spot of review. Read Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching enough, and you'll see patterns. You'll see that, contrary to the ravings of stupid white people, the Tao Te Ching is not about reconciling yin and yang, but recognizing them and always choosing yin. Choosing not to indulge our tendencies to be rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel, and instead to embrace our potential, to be flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Let's put a finer point on it. Instead of being rigid and controlling, we are being asked to be flexible and laid back. Now, the author of the Tao Te Ching recognized the exquisite irony that although being controlling is bad, sometimes we think it is a necessary means for an altruistic end, such as, my species is racing towards the precipice, I must do something before it is too late. However, according to the author of those 81 poems, that always ends in tears. Let us review some lies of patriarchy. There are many of them. We're just going to focus on two. Here's the first one. Do it right and you'll get perfect results. That's going to fuel both our controlling tendencies, our rigidity, our fear, and our perfectionism. But here's the corollary, also from the view of patriarchy. If you get better results, then you must have done it wrong. And that is a wonderful way that controlling, culty, patriarchal organizations strive to prey upon members and prospective members. What? Your life isn't exactly the way they wanted? Then you must have done something wrong. A sinner, you's in a heap of trouble. Gee, thanks. So that's a useful way to manipulate people and coerce people and bend them to your will, but it's not the path of peace. It's not the path of wisdom. This is great if you want to if you wish to stoke the fires of another's neurosis in an effort to control them. This is like metaphorically placing a bit in someone's mouth, a bridle over their head, and connecting that to your steely grasp with reins. But all bondage kinks aside, that's not the path of peace. That's not sustainable. The formula of causality is too complex. It stretches from probably before the Big Bang and encompasses directly or indirectly all factors everywhere. So to simplify everything down to you didn't do that, you didn't get that result because you failed to make your bed properly is unlikely. Here's the great irony. Peace is the source of our love and our power. Once we start chasing results, once we start lying to the world about who we are and about what we feel in the name of being more effective in our outreach to others, we are sacrificing peace upon the altar of what we think is expediency, but it is not. The source of true peace are mindfulness and meditation. That's a tough one. I'm not sure if it's is or are in this case, but anyway, I'm sure you get the idea. We cannot believe our way to peace. We cannot fake our way to peace, despite the ravings of 1001 armchair psychologists. The most effective way of generating peace is living in harmony with our autonomic nervous system. And we will get to the nitty-gritty specifics of that in just a few minutes. But first, I wish to take 30 seconds for housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day, every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. This morning, let us play with the latest iteration of Chenrei Zig's Easy Dzogchen. Right off the bat, we're dealing with vocabulary words. Dzogchen means great completion stage, which is very vague. Think of it as Tibetan Zen that predates Zen. That'll work. So what is this noun here, Chenrei Zig? Well, Chenrei Zig is the Tibetan translation of the Sanskrit name Avalokiteshvara. Chenrei Zig translates into English, can translate into English as kind gaze. And it is a reference to not a god or a goddess, but simply the archetype of mastering love and letting go. Or in other words, non-neurotic love. During the majority of this practice, we're going to be flip and flopping between mantra meditation and silent meditation. So it makes perfect sense, at least to me, to begin by reviewing the meaning of the mantra. Together. Om I invoke. So basically, here's the mantra. The mantra is in Arial font. So it's Om Mani Padme Hum. And so I'm placing these syllables throughout the sentence in an effort to infer their meaning. Together. Om I invoke love's wish of ending Mani Jewel, then let it go purifying, pay me lotus, whom may all beings master this path. Our first practice is known in Tibet as Lama Kyeno. In English, it is known as calling the teacher as from afar. It is not to be taken literally, but figuratively. It's a type of energy work that helps us to train in bliss and letting go, or in other words, harnessing our debauchery for spiritual purposes. It is known by many names, including completion stage tantra, bindu mahamudra, anu yoga, and tikle, or drop, which is short for channels, winds, and drops. Good morning. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Consider, if you will, this image containing two statues. The first statue of a four-armed fellow represents our Buddha nature and our capacity to practice compassion, love, sympathetic joy, and balance. Above this lower statue's head, we see a small statue of two individuals comprised of red light sporting in tantric union. Literally, this refers to the essence of the teachings, but metaphorically, it refers to the real or imagined experience of subtle energy coalescing at the crown of our head. So here's the trick. When we practice mantra meditation, during the inhalation, we silently and mentally recite this bit in italics. Now, it's not our job to emote or intend or visualize or reason or contemplate. All we gotta do is silently and mentally recite these words as we breathe in. And that's enough to train our mind efficiently. Because we want to work harder, we want to work smarter, not harder. In fact, that reminds me of one of my favorite quips attributed to Einstein. Any educated idiot can make things more complicated, more difficult, and more violent. However, it takes a lot of courage and a little bit of genius to move in the opposite direction. And that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to work smarter, not harder. So during our exhalation, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. Give yourself permission to have a learning curve. Let's dig in. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. We can master silent meditation in 4 easy steps. We can liken the process to training wheels on a child's bicycle. Let's begin by exploring mindfulness. Every time we breathe in, whether we know it or not, whether we feel it or not, we are accessing the sympathetic nervous system. No, it is not located in the 3-pound supercomputer between our ears, but instead in the spinal column. And despite the artistic license and the graphic before us, it correlates to the part of the spinal cord known as the thoracic region that we can think of as being our ribcage area. It did not evolve to support either extreme of either mind blanking or concentrating. But it did evolve to support simply noticing, and to do so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. Perhaps it is that vulnerability that is so necessary to mindfulness, that is being communicated in this archetype, in the nudity of this archetype of meditation, described in Sanskrit as Samantabhadra, Samantabhadri, Karma Mudara. Well, if we're not supposed to concentrate upon our breathing, then what are we supposed to do with our breathing? We treat our breathing the way a child studying the piano treats a metronome. When we feel our body breathing in of its own accord, for that is what it is built to do, we can silently and mentally recite, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. And when we feel our body begin to exhale, we could silently and mentally recite, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. And now together as a team, let's practice. For the next 4 exercises, let us train in the outer preliminary practices known in Tibet as Ngondro. May I see others' stress, for doing so lays the bedrock of empathy. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. May my love help all beings. Patriarchy would tell us, would use interdependence to frighten us with legends of hell and misfortune. Matriarchy says we have interdependence, which means we can affect others. We can lighten their load. We can ease their burden, which is really amazing. May my love help all beings. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. You see, here's the great irony. When people try to use fear as an expedient means, they undermine love, because fear and love are antithetical. This is not merely a bit of philosophy jotted down by a dead Jew 2,000 years ago. Au contraire, this has been validated by fMRI studies in neuroscience. We are in our amygdala, or we are in our anterior cingulate gyrus. We are in the seat of aggression and anxiety, or the seat of empathy. Different parts of the brain. Only enough blood to collect in one area or the other area, not both simultaneously. When we read the most popular meditation manual attributed to the Buddha, the Anapanasati Sutta, it turns out that all the Buddha meant by training in wisdom was simply noticing changes when they occur. That's right, folks, a doctoral dissertation is not required. Simply by noticing changes in our circumstance, changes in our bodies, changes in our relationships, changes in our perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. Simply by noticing change renders the idea of grasping an absurdity. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. It would seem that as we move through life, we have so many opportunities to practice love and to practice the wisdom of letting go. And what separates the wise from the foolish is simply their enthusiasm to make the most of the opportunities that befall them. May we make the most of each chance to practice the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Om mani me yung, 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 om mani me yung. Now, of course, we wish to seize upon these opportunities non-neurotically, but flow through them from a place of you employing the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. That's the magic with a K. Let us remove the first of two metaphoric training wheels and proceed to our second step on the four-step path to the mastery of mindfulness and meditation. Let us turn our attention now to meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, whether we mean to or not, We are accessing the parasympathetic nervous system, ensconced within the lower lumbar region as well as the tippy top of the cervical region of that same spinal cord. It is wired to support both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. Let me put it to you in a sentence. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel a little bit less graspable. In other words, it can make letting go that much easier. Now let's play with the same ideas figuratively. Why would we do that? Because we are wired to think symbolically. And playing with figures of speech, though treacherous they may be, is the quick path to great transformation. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during the previous inhalation can begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Now, a totally legitimate question would be, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void? Simple. Consider the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. And there you have it. Perhaps that is why this meditation archetype, known in Tibet as Kuntu Zangpo, Kuntu Zangmo, Yabyum, is depicted as comprised of light, translucent, and non-graspable. An easy way to practice perception during the inhalation is to silently and mentally recite sitting tall, thus generating a bit of a vertical traction between our tuchus and our head. For some reason, this seems to facilitate mindfulness. Don't know why. It simply does. During our exhalation, we can silently and mentally recite relaxing. And here's the wild thing. Simply by playing with these words, our subconscious will make subtle changes to our body. That's all we got to do is play with these words silently and mentally in harmony with our breathing and leave the heavy lifting to the paraconscious region or functionality of our mind. Let us demystify enlightenment. What if enlightenment was nothing more than mastering the Buddha's Eightfold Path? And by the way, by the time we are done with this morning's live stream, you will have an intimate knowledge of each facet of the Eightfold Path. But what could mastery look like? What if mastery just mastery of anything? Remember as a kid, we had difficulty tying our shoes, but eventually we mastered tying our shoes, and we didn't have to think about it. We could do it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. That's the same way with enlightenment. Only instead of applying mastery to the tying of our shoes, we're applying it to the Eightfold Path. When we read an ancient text known as the Satipatthana Sutta, in the second to the last portion, there's an incredible promise that we can master the Buddha's path in less than 7 years, or 7 quarters, or 7 months, or 7 fortnights, or 7 weeks, or even 7 days. If you were raised in a culture with yoga, and you've mastered sitting in meditation posture, then you can do this deal in a week. If you haven't and you're starting from scratch, you can do this deal in 16 weeks. And it's the first half of this deal is simply mastering how to sit. And so if you set aside 5 minutes once every 12 hours to sit in meditation, maybe you'll set a timer on your smartphone. Maybe you'll sit while practicing along with a live or a recorded live stream of mine on YouTube. That'll work. Do that twice a day, every day for 5 minutes a pop. And by the second week, you'll be ready for 10 minutes a pop. Third week, 15 minutes a pop. Every week, increasing the duration of your sitting by 5 minutes. Do that, and by the conclusion of the 16th week, you will have mastered sitting meditation. But what about the mental component? The mental component is easy. Come to these live streams, attend for 5 minutes twice a day the first week, 10 minutes twice a day the second week, so forth and so on. By the conclusion of the 16th week, you will have intellectually mastered the path. It's very simple. And of course, if at any time you have a question about Buddhist chanting, or Buddhist meditation, or Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window, and I will be elated to answer those questions for you. Sorry, I can't give you winning lottery numbers, but I can tell you how to become the next Buddha. Let us turn our attention now to the inner preliminary practices, also known as Ngondro. In our empathy, may we lovingly wish to free all beings from the tyranny of the 3 mental poisons of craving and hating and confusion. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. In order to facilitate our wish to benefit all beings, it would help if we master the path. And in order to do that, we may wish to rely on the 3 metaphoric wish-fulfilling jewels of simply relying upon the Buddha's example and instructions and students. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. We have a choice. We can squander our time and energy with defensiveness, or we can apply that same time and energy to actually learning from our mistakes. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. We can be greedy and predatory, or we can cultivate the love that longs to share all one has with all others. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. We have focused on mindfulness and we have focused on meditation. Now let's consider a fringe benefit of practicing the two. As a result of practicing mindfulness and meditation, our blood ceases to collect around our amygdala, anxious and aggressive, and instead coalesces about our anterior cingulate gyrus, located just a few centimeters behind our forehead. It functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy. Since this empathy comes not from strenuous contemplations or effort, but as the effortless byproduct of mindfulness and meditation, it makes sense why the greatest Dzogchen Lamas insist that the highest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. And perhaps the amazing quality of love to transform our lives is the reason why this archetype of enlightenment, known in English as all good father, all good mother, sporting in tantric union, is depicted as beautiful. During our perceptive inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, "Notice this." And during our releasing exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, "Relaxing." Let us return to energy work. This exercise is known in Sanskrit as Guru Yoga and in Tibetan as Lama Najor. It facilitates our practice of bliss and letting go. And during our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite, Lama, come to this heart. Lama literally refers to the essence of the teachings and figuratively refers to our experience of energy, real or imagined. As we exhale, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. Om mani mimi yung, 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 mani mimi yung, om 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 mani mimi yung. Let us remove the second of 2 metaphoric training wheels and come to the 4th step on our path of mastery of mindfulness and meditation. Consider, if you will, the manner in which this gal, the color of a cumulus cloud, appears to be actively sporting in tantric union, reminding us of the superiority of spontaneity to mere contrivance. Consider her partner passively enjoying the tantric union, reminding us that the greatest spontaneity is not scattered, but centered. In my decades of practice, I have found that when our choices and utterances and our deeds flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity, life works out remarkably well. Not necessarily the way we expect it to, but remarkably well. Life can become as blissful as if it was a mythic paradise of a Buddha, described as a Pure Land or a Vati, or visually described by Maxfield Parrish. During our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. And during our exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the 1-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. I'm going to edit the artwork for a moment because that's how I roll. I think that's much prettier. And to coin an absurd phrase, a bit trifle more conceptually congruent. So, quick like a bunny. I'm going to do my best to move something. No, let's try that again. Okay, so let's hit cut and move over here. Okay. Paste. Now that we've reached contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as profoundly as Qui-Gon Jinn on Naboo. Let us bring the experience of the 4 bases of mindfulness into the conventional path of love and letting go, where it is love that is emphasized. This is known by many names, including generation or creation stage, Tantra Mahamudra, Mahayoga, and Tokal's leap over jealousy and pride. So here's the basic format. First, we're going to chant a loving wish. Then we're going to silently and mentally recite its very, very, very concise aspect. This concise aspect is going to rely on a metaphor. Fortunately, during the verbal aspect, we're going to reverse engineer the metaphors into similes to make it more easily understood. The second fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Oh yes, by the way, this whole bit I mentioned about effortless effort, and that can be described as the 6th fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. These next 4 exercises fit snugly under the heading of the 2nd fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, or in other words, wishing love. Or in other words, the love that wishes good things for everyone. Excuse me. Let's chant. May all minds of all beings know me as peacefully wise as the mind of a Buddha of blossom blessed by a tikle one syllable zero bija mantra. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May all relationships of all beings now be as joyfully loving as a real or imagined Buddha's communication symbolized by the six-syllable mantra. And here it is. There is a wall in Tibet that is comprised entirely of stones that have had the mani chiseled into them, which is a pet project of the late Dza Paltrul Rinpoche. Every time the Red Chinese destroy it, they just keep building it right back up. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May all bodies of all beings now enjoy the beautiful health depicted in Buddhist art of the blissful body of a Yidam of lower and archetype of enlightenment such as Chenrezig. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May all circumstances or lots of all beings now have the good fortune or boon as a Buddha's real or imagined paradise per land of Avanti. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. And now let us rest in Mahasandhi's mindfulness and meditation. Good morning. the moment you, for the remainder of this morning's live stream, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Right now, we're going to bring the experience of the 4 bases of mindfulness into the ultimate path of love and letting go, where it is letting go that is emphasized, where we leap over pride. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to chant a run-on sentence, really is what it is. And then we're going to silently and mentally recite its very, very concise version of the same sentence. This is going to rely on similes. This is going to decode the similes, reverse engineering them, as it were. Together. As we inhale, we can notice all minds, perceptions, emotions, intentions, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings quite clearly. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable or thought as a real or imagined bija seed settable of light. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Let's try that again. So if you're just tuning in, welcome aboard. Here's how it works. As we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite this italicized bit. All we got to do is recite it. We don't need to analyze it. We're just playing with it. We're letting the subconscious do the heavy lifting. As we exhale, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. Om mani baby yung, 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 om mani baby yung. As we inhale, the interpersonal experience of communication or speech could sound quite resounding. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, it could feel as non-graspable or what is a real or imagined mantra of light. Of course, we're using the word sound here metaphorically because not all speech is verbal. Most of it is non-verbal. Om mani baby yung, 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 om mani baby yung. As we inhale, all bodies or forms could feel quite sensual. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable or thought as a real or imagined archetypal yetm of light. I'm not sure I can get this to fit. That sounds odd. Okay. Om mani baby yung, 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 om mani baby yung. As we inhale, all lots of circumstances could appear quite vivid. Yet as we relax into our exhalation, they could feel as non-graspable or what is a real or imagined paradise or vati of light. 1, 2, 3. Ah, the joy of editing. Oh, money be me yung, 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 oh, money be me yung. Now let us rest in Ati Yoga's utmost union of mindfulness and meditation. So we're already wired by evolution to perceive during our inhalation. However, we keep our brain from getting in our own way by giving it a simple task, such as silently and mentally reciting the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation. Similarly, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system, we are already wired to mentally release during each exhalation. And once again, to keep our brain from getting in our own way, we're going to give it a simple task to do, which is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax, during each exhalation. Let us bring the horizontal duality of us and them into the dance of let us bring the illusion of the horizontal duality of us and them into the dance of impermanence and interdependence, known as the yoga of inconceivability. All circumstances are lost, good bliss, footing, and impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this body or form. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. All forms of bodies, good bliss, body, and impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this communicational speech. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Welcome to this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. So we're going to chant a bit right here, and then we're going to silently and mentally recite a very concise version of the same thing here. This relies upon metaphor that is spelled out here. Oopsie. Here. Together. All interpersonal speech could blissfully and impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into this mind. So during our oopsie. Well, that was quick. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. All minds could blissfully and impermanently melt into rainbow light that interdependently absorbs into a vast empty void. Like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although tantalizing to the eye could be not graspable to the hand. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us slice through the duality of dread and desire. Let us transcend the illusion of the vertical duality of samsara and nirvana by metaphorically inviting all the real or imagined Buddhas, their paradises, and their denizens to dwell in the 84,000 pores of our skin, thus practicing the body mandala of duality's awareness and non-duality's release. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Let us rest and Trek shows slice through the duality of dread and desire. Let us bring the five aggregates into the path of awareness and letting go, which is known by many names, including Dzogchen's Great Completion Stage, Tantra, Sutra Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, or Trek shows, which translates into slicing through the duality of dread and desire. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. So feeling here, so during our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite relaxing into this feeling. And in the context of the five aggregates, feeling refers to pleasure or pain. Our pleasure, pain, or neutrality, if you wish. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. In the context of the five aggregates, awareness refers to all the mental functions: perception, emotion, or in other words, our awareness of perception, emotion, intention, reason, recollection, or imagination. So as we breathe in, we silently and mentally recite this bit. We do it passively, allowing our subconscious to do the heavy lifting. As we exhale, we physically relax as best we can while striving to chant these 12 syllables 4 times per breath. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Appraisal within the context of the five aggregates refers to not necessarily noticing pleasure or pain, but noticing their intensity. Kind of like the volume when we play a song on our smartphone. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Form in the context of the five aggregates. Whoops, that was a boo-boo. Form in the context of the five aggregates refers to our body. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. Now we're going to bring the five mental poisons into the path of awareness and letting go. So we're going to, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever jealousy we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as its opposite, all accomplishing wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pride we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as its opposite, equalizing wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever greed or pulling energy we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as its opposite, discerning wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. I wonder if I made a boo-boo here. I think I did. I did make a boo-boo. Okay, let's go over here. That's what I wanted to do. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever hatred or pushing energy we might have noticed during our inhalation can begin to feel as non-graspable as its opposite, mirror-like wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever confusion we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as its opposite, all-pervading wisdom. Om mani mimi yung, 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 om mani mimi yung. let us rest in Trek Cho. Let us bring the 5 perceptions into the path of awareness and letting go. Let us relax into the awareness of whatever sense we may be experiencing. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. Let us relax into the awareness of these flavors. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite this phrase written in italics. As we exhale, let us silently and mentally, let us physically relax as best we can while verbally chanting these 12-syllable mantras 4 times per breath. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. Let us relax into the awareness of these sounds. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. Let us relax into the awareness of these sights. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. Let us bring the 5 thoughts into the path of awareness and letting go. Om Mani Bimi Yung, 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 Om Mani Bimi Yung. You know what? I think I forgot a step. I did forget a step. Here we go. Let's rest the mind. Let us relax into the awareness of these intentions. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of these cognitions. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of these recollections. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Let us relax into the awareness of these imaginings. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Let us rest the mind. Let us drag the spontaneous play of mind, kicking and screaming, into the path of awareness and letting go. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Om mani bimi yung, 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 om mani bimi yung. Now let us rest the mind. Let us seal this morning's practice with the love that wishes for the universal mastery of Buddha's Eightfold Path. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May all master kind communication, conduct, and commerce. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May all master the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. May all master mindfulness and meditation. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.